Hello everyone, Hubert here, and my guest today is Fernanda Lira from the band Crypta. Hello, how are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing all right. Very happy with the release of our new album.
Yeah,
By the way, thanks for having me here and allowing me to talk a little bit about my work. Truly
sure.
means a lot. And hello to everyone who's watching, especially our Polish fans.
Yeah, how is the impact for your new record from your fans for Shades of Sorrow?
It's been great so far, to be honest. Like we've been getting like very nice reviews and we've been getting really nice feedback from fans, like on comments and everything. Everyone's saying it's a step up from our last album, Echoes of the Soul, which is really cool. Everyone seems to be very happy with the songs, very excited for watching us play the songs live and everything. It's been great so far. Like releasing the album, to me, it's always the climax. It's the highest achievement of like many years of work. We usually spend like, I don't know, 2 years working on an album. So the time it's released, it's really just the best feeling. It
Sure.
just doesn't top being on stage, but it's almost as cool.
Yeah, okay. So, do you consider the album as a final chapter of the work? Not so much the singles, but as many metal bands, the album maybe these times old school form, I would say, because a lot of bands are focusing on the singles. But it's great that there's a lot of metal bands that doesn't give a shit about it and still releasing the albums.
I think that's one of the coolest things about metal. I know that our band's experimenting this new format at that pop and hip hop and other genres do a lot, which is focusing on singles. But I think the majority of the bands still still stick with the whole album thing because, like, us metalheads, we're kind of used to this format,
Yeah.
like we are a different audience, like we are collectors, we are very passionate about music, we're passionate about concepts and lyrical concepts, and we're passionate about our rituals, which one of the main metalhead rituals is like sitting listening to a whole album while like looking at the booklet and stuff like that. So I think that's one of the coolest things about metalheads. It's and metal in a general way. We stick with these rituals that are kind of old school if you compare it to like to other genres, but it makes the whole thing very special. I think metal is so special because of that. Like this album that we released is a semi-concept album, and people are noticing that. People come to me commenting about how the songs are very well put together, one after another. I mean, the track list and how the lyrics connect to the artwork and stuff like that. It's definitely a different audience, and I really like the album concept. I think you can express more with the album thing. That's why I still stick with it.
Sure. We, the fans of metal, we care about the whole package, I would say. The albums,
Yes.
the vinyls, the gigs, merchandise, and all that stuff. And that's great that a lot of bands are continuing it, even these days. Okay, so you played the tour in Europe recently. And could you please tell me what is the main difference for you between European and Latin American audience?
I think every audience around the world is special in its own way. You can't really compare because it's just like different cultures and stuff like that. But all of them are cool in their own specific way. Like here, there in Europe, for example, people like really pay a lot of attention when you are playing, and they give like a lot of like technical feedback and stuff like that, which is really cool. They're really supportive merchandise wise too, which is really, really cool. They are collectors, just like on people in the US. People in the US love memorabilia. People in Europe, they are collectors, you know, like they like autographs and stuff like that. And that is a very specific way of supporting a band that is a very European way. I don't want to generalize, because like every country in Europe has its own way of supporting metal and the bands. But overall, I would say this. And when it comes to Latin American audience, I think the main difference is the passion. I'm not saying that European audience is not passionate. It's not that. They express their passion in those different ways I told. But here in Latin America, we're very vocal about our passion. You know, like I don't think there's any audience that can compare to Latin America in this sense. And first of all, because like we are living in Latin America is pretty hard, you know, like the so-called third world countries and everything. It's so hard. It's so hard for us to make a living in here. It's so hard. We face so many like financial, social, economic struggles. And I think metal, and especially metal shows, is one of our dearest ways of, you know, like letting all this anger, all this dissatisfaction out. You know, like we go to a concert and it's a cathartic moment for us. We want to really uncan everything that it was bottled up inside from living in Latin America, which can be pretty hard. Also, like in Europe, you can watch the same band if you want on the summer season like 10 times. And here in Latin America, like we never know when our favorite band is going to come back, you know, like, so it can be in 2 years, it can be in 5 years, but definitely not 10 times on the same year. So whenever we go to a show, we really want to show support. We really want to show our love for that band. And that's why we are so passionate, you know, like, and also like we're all economically fucked up. So if we have the chance to go to a show, we'll make sure we'll enjoy it and make our money worth, you know, by going insanely crazy. That's the main difference. I think us Latins, Latin metalheads, we're more like, we express more our passion in like crazy ways when at a concert. That would be it.
Yeah, thank you so much for that great explanation, because, you know, I was like, I've heard about that many times from many bands, that the fans in Latin America are very special in its way of, you know, the energy that they have. And it's true, a lot of bands are doing always their European and the US part of their tours, and not so often, you know, are coming to Latin America. And if they are, there's always, maybe not always, but really often something like, you know, maybe one show in Mexico, one in Argentina, one in Brazil, and that's all. And that's probably not enough a lot of the times. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Because my next question was about that. Why is it this way? But I think your explanation is really good in this way. Okay, so maybe let's get back to Shades of Sorrow and Crypta. Could you please tell me what is the main difference for you between your newest record and the first one, the previous one, Echoes of the Soul, for you, in the way of sound, in the way of lyrics, package, everything?
Perfect. I think they're very different albums. I think Shades of Sorrow is a more mature album. Although I love Echoes of the Soul, I think Shades of Sorrow is a more mature album for a couple of reasons. And first of them is because when we were writing Echoes of the Soul, we were a new band. So we were still experimenting and trying to understand what is Crypta musically. You know, like we were trying to find out what was the sound we wanted for the band, what was our essence. So we were like experimenting inside a wide range of like different genres in the extreme side of metal, although our main focus was death metal. So I think that's why it's a more diverse album in a way. But yeah, we were still trying to figure out who we were musically. And when it comes to Shades of Sorrow, what we did is we took what we noticed fans identified as being our trademark, which is like melody mixed with aggressiveness here and there. We kept that for Shades of Sorrow. And we started experimenting from there. So we were like, okay, we know what fans expect, and what they expect is this melody, aggressiveness all together. So let's start experimenting from there. And from there, we started finding new ways of creating our music. So I think that's one thing. And it's also a more mature album just because we evolved naturally as songwriters. We were able to see each other's potential of songwriting with Echoes of the Soul, and on Shades of Sorrow, we could explore it more easily. Also, we evolved naturally as musicians. I think as musicians, we're always trying to push ourselves a little bit further so we can surprise fans with something new on each record. So I think that was a natural evolution. And also now, like, when it comes to the sound, besides sounding more mature, I think the main difference in both albums is that Shades of Sorrow is a much darker album. It's a very dark album. It's a very gloomy album. It's a more emotional album compared to Echoes of the Soul. And the reason is that on the first album, we were exploring more epic kind of melodies, mainly because I wrote that album, like the melodies, mostly with our previous guitarist, Sonia. And this one, I wrote it mostly with our guitarist, Taina. I mean, the melodies. And the both of us, like, I learned how to like melodies in death metal because I'm not a big fan of like a lot of melodies in death metal. I like it raw and aggressive, but I learned how to do and like that with Crypta. And I found out that the kind of melodies I like are dark melodies, either dark, like creepy melodies, or like very emotional melodies. And Taina, our guitarist, that's the way she likes it for Crypta too. So in this sense, we agreed a lot when writing, and then the result was that. So yeah, it's also a very dark album. And lyrically, there are many differences too between the two albums. First one, it talks about a wider range of things. Most of them are about psychological aspects of, like our psyche and our mind. But there's also like protest songs because, like I was writing protest songs for 10 years there in Nervosa, my previous band. So I couldn't help but also having protest songs here and there, like Starvation and I Resign and Bloodstained Heritage. But, and there were also like more themes that were more like related to the occult and mystic stuff. And they did, like, the lyrics didn't have a connection to each other. As for the new album, it's a semi-concept album. It was supposed to be a concept album, but I'm very methodic. We wouldn't have the time to do it the way I was planning. So we stick to a semi-concept. So there is one theme that is present in all the lyrics. There is one theme that permeates the whole album. There's one theme where there's a progression, like in the album, and all the lyrics are connected, and all the lyrics are connected to the artwork and everything. And so there is a theme, and I think that is the main difference between the lyrical content of both albums. And this theme, it's fully on psychological, like dark elements of our psyche and psychology and our minds and everything. There was a little bit of that in Echoes of the Soul, but now in Shades of Sorrow, it's totally about it.
Okay. Would I be correct if I would say that on the first album you were, it was some kind of a gateway bridge? You were evolving from the thrash metal band as you were in before, the Nervosa band, and now you really, learned how to make it all to the death metal?
Yeah, definitely. I I love both thrash and death metal. They are my favorite genres in metal. But liking something, it's something. Writing a genre, it's something else. So I was writing thrash metal for a decade, like, so you kind of get used to it. It becomes a part of your art, like in a very natural way. So in Shades, in Echoes of the Soul, when we started Crypta, it was a blank page. I could write whatever I wanted, but still I have so much of that thrash metal in my veins. So I had to control myself for not writing a lot of thrash metal riffs. I saved so many riffs that I thought, okay, this is too thrash metal, maybe for another project some other time. So I had to put aside lots of riffs. And also lyrically, I was trying to adapt because, like, I'm very socially activist. So to me, it was very easy to write, like protest songs and songs, about like pointing out what was wrong in people, what was wrong in society. It was really easy to me. It flew very naturally. It flew? No, it flowed. I don't know. Anyways, it happened very naturally to me. And so adapting that to death metal, it was a whole different thing. I needed to know, like, how am I going to write like death metal lyrics? Because I don't want to write about demons or about gory stuff just because I have nothing to talk about that. Like, I have no repertoire. So it would be so hard to me. So I was trying to find out how to adapt. And also something that really contributed, and I think that was a big contribution to the difference between the albums, is that on Echoes of the Soul, like, look, I was playing in a band for 10 years where there was one guitar. So I was used to writing for one guitar, like the riffs and everything. I didn't know how the world of possibilities there is when you have like two guitars. It's a whole different thing. Sure. So when I started writing for Crypta, although we had two guitarists, I still had the one guitar mentality because I was, like so used to it. And then when I started in Echoes of the Soul, when I sent Sonia the riffs, and I would see her adding so many different layers, and then you can add some leads here, and then the bass is going to be doing some other thing. And I was like, damn, there's a whole world to explore. So when it comes to Shades of Sorrow, I knew already I could explore the amazing world of two guitars, and I could add layers of everything. And that's why that's one of the reasons the guitar work in Shades of Sorrow is more solid, because I also learned how to write for two guitars.
Sure. You said that in interviews that Shade of Sorrow is some kind of a story of the difficult time in your life. And is it important for an artist to go through the dark times a lot because it might be good for the art?
I think so. That's an amazing question. First of all, about the theme of the album, it talks about dark times I've been through, but it was not my intention that it was like fully autobiographical. It is, but my intention was to write stuff that people could relate a lot, that could, like embrace people who were suffering, because we all struggle in life. We all go through dark times, and we all feel all those things that I talk about: fear, apathy, rejection, isolation, anger. So I wanted to write something that would be both relatable to the fans, but also cathartic to me. Also important for me to express everything I was feeling when I was going through dark times. But yeah, I personally think that, I don't know, each artist is a whole different universe. So there are people who are very good at fiction. There are people who are very good with metaphors. There are artists who are very good about writing political stuff. So I cannot say for all artists, you know, like, because there are so many different types of artists and different kind of stuff that inspires artists. So it's hard to say for every other artist out there. But for me personally, as an artist, I feel more and more that it's really important to get in touch with like the darker aspects of our existence in order to express myself fully and also to talk directly to other people. There is a singer that I love, a metal vocalist, very famous one that is my friend nowadays. We were talking about art and everything and our pain. Like we have similar struggles and everything. And we were talking, and she once told me, like over a year ago, a phrase that really stuck on my mind. And it was like, happiness connects people, but pain connects even more. Mm. And I felt that was so beautiful, because I feel that too. Like we can easily get connected in happy times, you know, like go out, have some fun. But I think, at least for me, my deepest connections are with people who I can really connect my pain with. Like, I've been there. I know you've been there too. Come on, let's give a hug, you know? So I think, to me, it's very easy to access my shadowy part. I deal very well with facing my demons and facing my shadow within, and facing. There's actually a song on Echoes of the Soul that talks about this. To me, it's very natural to face, you know, like life through navigating this difficult, sad, dark stuff and transmuting them into something else. So to me, sorry, I was a little bit prolix, but it's a very nice question. So to me, it is very important to get in touch with my dark side so I can talk to other people's dark side, because we all have that. Sure. You know, like, so by accessing some dark feelings I was having when I was going through dark times, I can talk to that part in people. And that is a very important thing to me. I really want to talk to the raw inside you. I really want to talk to that part that you want to hide. I really want to talk to that part of you that needs healing. I really want to talk to that part of you that it needs to be cherished because it is a part of you. So yeah, to me, it's very important because it helps me connect with people in a deeper level.
Yeah, I think...
Wow, that was a philosophical answer.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. And I think...
Not a problem.
The good times are just good, you know. We just enjoy the time then. We're not thinking much, but the darker times are... After a moment are so much more inspiring, I think.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you.
Great.
I mean, I could definitely write about happy stuff. I have lots of things I'm happy about in my life. And usually in life, I have an optimistic view of the world, you know, like I do my best in this crazy society. But to me, it's way more easy to express myself when I'm talking about my pain. I'm thinking of having, I have many ideas, and I was concentrating on like an ideas for a future, whenever, like side project. And I wanted to talk about love, which is present in all our lives, not only like relationship love. We love stuff. And I was struggling to choose the themes I was going to talk about. And then I was like, okay. So I really wanted to try and write stuff that was like more like cheerful. But then the moment I connected with my pain regarding love, I wrote like at least like 15 topics. I was, there is no way. I get way more inspired by pain than by whatever else.
Sure. Okay, so maybe let's change the subject a little bit. Please tell me, how do you care about your voice to keep it in the good condition, especially when you are on the tour?
I have a very strict set of things that help me on tour. I'll start with the vital, crucial ones. To me, there's two things that are my lifesavers on tour. First, sleeping. That is, if you ask any professional singer, they'll probably say the same. Sleeping is the most powerful tool for healing your vocals. That's why sometimes, like on tour, I try to avoid talking when I am in the band, just like sleep as much as I can. Even if I had like 7 hours of sleep on tour, which is rare.
Yeah.
It's so rare. Even though I had like 7 hours and I feel fine, if I have more time, I'll sleep more during the trip, because that truly, sleeping really heals the body and heals the throat, like in a very spectacular way. So that's my rule number one. Rule number two, I have a steaming device, like a steaming thing where I inhale vapor.
Okay.
Like water and saline solution. That shit heals in such a deep level too, especially because I have, actually, this is my allergy. That's why so I have this allergy to dry weather. I have not dry weather, but dry air. So if I'm visiting a city where the air is so dry, I have terrible allergy. And the same thing with air conditioning, which is awful because it's everywhere. So to help me with that, I have this steaming device, and that's my best friend on every tour. Sometimes I do like 2-3 times a day, the steaming thing, because it truly helps keeping the voice healthy. So this is the crucial thing for me. And of course, like warming up. But there are also some other choices I made in life that really helped me with my vocals. First of them, I've been sober for 5 years now. It's going to be 5 this September. And that truly helped a lot, man. Not only because like alcohol can really damage, like all this tract here, but also because like, at least me, I'm already naturally a loud person. Thanks to my Brazilian genes. Like I'm very loud when I'm speaking and when I'm having fun. And when I had alcohol, you kind of lose the control. Like, yeah, I can't scream too much because tomorrow I have to sing, at least myself. So I used to drink and I was like go full on partying, sometimes missing nights of sleep and like screaming a lot and laughing and coughing and just going full crazy. And so when I quit alcohol, I could feel like a huge difference in my vocals, like a huge difference. And another life choice that really helped me was going vegan. I've been vegan for 7 years now. And that really helped my voice too, like really tremendously helped, because I used to have acid reflux, and the first week in being vegan, I stopped having it. Not stopped, but like it decreased tremendously. Like I could barely remember that I had acid reflux. And it's like this till nowadays, because meat and dairy can be very inflammatory and irritative for the stomach and stuff like that. And I was going through a tough time with my acid reflux, because like my gastric, like my stomach juice, I don't know how to say that, it was burning my larynx and my vocal cords. So I was getting like hoarse. And when I started being vegan, like I barely have any problems like that, except when I am too nervous or anxious or stuff like that. But besides that, based on on the food I eat, which is very healthy, it really helped me a lot on keeping my vocal cords way healthier.
All right. So for the end, I'm gonna ask you if do you have some plans about visiting Poland for a concert
Yes.
someday?
Yes. First of all, please, Polish fans, don't hate us. I know we've been to Europe twice and we haven't visited your country, and this sucks. But we were doing mainly like the 2 times we've been to Europe, last year and this year, was for summer festivals and stuff like that. And there was nothing like too close to Poland or in Poland. So we needed to skip it, unfortunately. But we're going to do a spring tour around Europe, like a smaller headlining tour. And Poland is included. It's going to be included because our booking agents has started booking it right now. So, and that's specifically because I asked him. I was like, hey, on this tour, make sure you include France, the UK, and of course, Poland, because I know we have a fan base in all of these 3 territories. And for some reason, we haven't been able to visit them. So next tour, mark my words, Crypta is going to be in Poland and we're going to have so much fun. And it's going to be with a new album. So this means a longer set. It's going to be great.
Sure. So you said autumn this year, or I heard bad?
Spring. It's spring there next year, around April.
All right.
We're going to be announcing it within the next months.
Sure. Great. Thank you so much for this great conversation. Thank you for the great answers. And I wish you all the best for the band, for the shows, for the album release, and all the best for you. Thank you so much once again.
No, thank you. Thanks for our Polish fans or whoever's watching this for supporting Crypta. The only reason we're doing it, it's because of you. You were the fuel for everything. So thank you so much. And thank you for having me in your channel and for being a very important bridge between what the artists want to talk and their fans. Sure. Because like there's so much we want to talk, and without you guys, that would be way more difficult to us, because it's not every time we can, like go to the merch table and talk to every fan for like an hour. So I think that's a very important thing. So thank you so much. I wish you the best, and I wish your channel the best too. Count on me whenever you need. Thank you so much.
It was a really, really pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.